It looks like for the energy stocks in North America, this, in percentage terms, could turn out to be the worst day so far this year. And I think about those early COVID concerns we saw in China, in Shanghai, and the subsequent lockdowns. It's almost as if we're using that as a template now that everybody's starting to focus on what's happening in Beijing.
That's exactly what I'm hearing, that people are very worried because demand has already gone down around 1.4 million barrels a day because of the Shanghai lockdowns. And if Beijing does go into lockdown, we've already seen certain districts of Beijing go into lockdown, then that could really mean bad things for crude's demand outlook in the future, because everyone was pricing in a very tight supplies, they were pricing in driving season, but China could really control that demand outlook because it is the world's biggest importer of crude. I think it imported over 13 million barrels a day in 2021. So that could be really changing the outlook there.
So Julia, you mentioned those tight supplies in particular, which I think is pretty stagnating. But then you have this kind of offloading demand essentially coming from China as well. Do those two things cancel out? Does this mean that that idea that there isn't enough perhaps supplying the world for oil, can we just kind of throw that idea out the window?
That's what I was asking traders earlier today, and they were saying that there's still high prices. We are still around $90 a barrel, 96 for WTI, around 100 for Brent. So it's not that we now have slack supplies and supplies everywhere, but it is not exactly the $120 that a lot of people were pricing in. So for sure, there are still tight supplies. One does not necessarily cancel out the other, but it is lessening that demand outlook there.
And Julia, we should probably also highlight, obviously, one of those factors that was leading prices higher, what happens to Russian energy if, for example, Europe is shying away. There's still plenty of evidence out there of, for example, Asian nations that are tapping into that Russian supply.
Exactly, and it doesn't seem that the Russian barrels it seems that they are still getting to the market, and that's why also prices have come down a little bit, because people had really priced in no Russian barrels in the market, and so that price is getting wheeled back just a little bit now. But if Europe does decide to put an embargo or to stop importing Russian energy exports, well, then that is going to shoot prices right back up again.